A peasant walks barefoot through snow in 1347. The temperature? -20 degrees. Yet somehow his toes don't fall off. His home has no central heating, no electricity, no insulation as we know it. But here's the weird part. He's warmer than most people in modern apartments during a power outage. Medieval people survived winters that would kill us in hours. And they did it with technology so simple, it sounds like a joke. Except it worked better than almost anything we use today. The secret wasn't magic, it was physics. Really strange physics.
Let's start with something that makes no sense. During the Little Ice Age, roughly 1300 to 1850, temperatures in Europe dropped so low that rivers froze solid for months. The Thames River in London became a highway of ice. Entire festivals were held on it. People today panic when the heat goes out for 6 hours. Medieval peasants lived through 6-month winters in wooden huts with holes in the walls. No fleece jackets, no thermals, definitely no heated blankets. So how? The answer is almost embarrassing in its simplicity. They stacked every survival trick known to humanity into one tiny space and created a microclimate, a bubble of warmth that physics couldn't touch. But before we get there, quick question. Have you ever noticed how a dog curls into a ball when it's cold? Totally unrelated. Keep that in mind. Here's something modern building codes would absolutely hate. Medieval families shared their homes with livestock. Cows, pigs, chickens, goats, all crammed into the same structure. This wasn't about saving space, it was thermal engineering. A single cow produces the same heat as a small space heater, about 1,500 BTUs per hour. Put 6 cows in the room below your bedroom, and you've got a living furnace pumping warmth upward all night long. The animals stayed on the ground floor, the family slept on a loft directly above. The body heat rose, the cold air sank. It's called convection, and medieval builders used it like a cheat code. But here's where it gets clever. The animals also provided humidity. Sounds gross, but dry air steals heat from your body faster than moist air. Those cows breathing and sweating, they were turning the house into a humid micro-jungle that trapped warmth. Think about it. Saunas feel warmer than dry rooms at the same temperature. Medieval homes were accidentally engineered saunas with manure. Oh, and speaking of manure, we'll get to that. It's weirder than you think. Modern homes are built to be airtight. Medieval homes were the opposite. They leaked air everywhere. Gaps in the wood, holes for smoke, spaces around the door. You'd think that would make them colder, but it didn't. Here's why. When you seal a building completely, moisture gets trapped inside. That moisture condenses on cold surfaces, walls, ceilings, your skin. Condensation pulls heat away from your body faster than cold air alone. Medieval homes let moisture escape. The walls breathed. Air moved constantly, but slowly. This kept the interior from becoming a damp, freezing cave. They also used wattle and daub construction, woven sticks covered in mud, straw, and sometimes animal dung. Sounds primitive, but that mixture has incredible insulation properties. The tiny air pockets in the straw trap heat. The mud creates mass that absorbs warmth during the day and releases it at night. It's the same principle as modern thermal mass construction, except they figured it out 800 years ago using literal garbage. Wait, here's a fun fact. Polar bears have hollow hair. Each strand traps air and creates insulation. Completely unrelated. Moving on. In medieval villages, the central hearth fire was never allowed to go out. Not in summer, not in winter. Never. This wasn't superstition, it was survival.
Starting a fire without matches or lighters is hard, really hard. Flint and steel could take 15 minutes of striking in dry conditions. In wet winter conditions, forget it. You might not get a flame for an hour. So they kept one fire burning year-round. Families would bank the coals at night, covering them with ash to slow the burn. In the morning, they'd blow on the embers and add kindling. Instant heat. But the fire did more than heat the home. It smoked the building constantly. That smoke killed insects, preserved food hanging from the rafters, and kept the wood dry. The soot coating the walls actually added another layer of insulation. Plus, smoke rises, and where does it go? Out through the roof. That constant updraft pulled fresh air in from the bottom gaps and created circulation. It was a passive ventilation system that worked 24/7. Also, fun fact, medieval families cooked, heated water, dried clothes, and even slept near the fire. One energy source, multiple uses, maximum efficiency. Modern homes waste heat in a dozen different ways. Medieval homes captured every calorie. Let's talk about wool. Not boring fashion wool. Medieval survival wool. Wool is magic. It stays warm, even when wet. It wicks moisture away from your skin. It's naturally antibacterial. And it can absorb up to 30% of its weight in water without feeling damp. Medieval people wore wool everything. Undergarments, tunics, cloaks, socks, hats. Layers on layers. But here's the trick. They never washed it. Sounds disgusting, but washing wool strips away lanolin, the natural oil that makes it waterproof and insulating. Medieval people understood this. They wore the same wool garments for months, letting the lanolin build up into a weatherproof shell. They also stuffed straw into their shoes for insulation, wrapped their legs in wool strips instead of socks, wore cloaks that doubled as blankets at night. And when it got really cold, they used a trick called the bundle. Multiple people slept under one massive pile of furs and blankets. Body heat pooled together. The bundle became its own microclimate. Oh, remember that dog curling into a ball thing? Same principle. Minimize exposed surface area. Trap heat close to the core. Medieval people basically turned themselves into human burritos. Here's something nobody talks about. Medieval winter diets were insanely high in fat. During winter, peasants ate pork fat, butter, cheese, fatty fish, and dense bread soaked in animal drippings. This wasn't indulgence, it was thermodynamics. Your body burns calories to produce heat. Fat contains more than twice the calories per gram as carbs or protein. Eating fat in winter is like pouring high-octane fuel into your internal furnace. Medieval people understood this instinctively. Winter meals were designed to keep the body's core temperature high. They drank warm ale, not for fun, but because cold liquids lower your core temp. They ate porridge and stews, hot, dense, slow digesting. They also practiced intermittent fasting without knowing it. Food was scarce in winter, so they ate 1 or 2 large meals per day. This kept their metabolism efficient and their bodies adapted to burning fat for fuel. And here's the kicker. They ate together. One pot, one fire, everyone gathered close. Shared meals meant shared warmth. Contrast that with modern life. We eat cold sandwiches alone in air-conditioned rooms and wonder why we're always tired. Here's the part that really matters. Medieval villages didn't just survive winter, they survived together. When a family's roof collapsed under snow, neighbors rebuilt it. When someone's fire went out, they borrowed coals. When food ran low, it was shared. Survival wasn't individual, It was communal. Villages also practiced winter clustering. Families would move into fewer homes during the coldest months, leaving some buildings empty. This concentrated body heat and resources. It's the same strategy wolves use in a pack. They also had warning systems. If someone didn't emerge from their home for a day, neighbors checked on them. Hypothermia and carbon monoxide poisoning were real threats. The community was the safety net. Modern society tells us independence is strength. Medieval survival proved the opposite. Interdependence was the only way to make it through. And that's the uncomfortable truth. They survived because they had to rely on each other. We struggle because we don't.
So, medieval peasants lived through Arctic conditions in wooden boxes with animals and no real heat source. They did it with wool, fat, fire, and each other. But here's the thing nobody mentions. They didn't just survive winter, they thrived in it. They held festivals, got married, told stories by the fire. They turned the coldest months into a time for community and rest. Modern people have central heating and still complain when it's 50 degrees outside. Maybe we didn't lose the knowledge of how to survive winter. Maybe we lost something else entirely. And if a grid-down event ever happens, if the power goes out for weeks in January, there's one question worth asking. Would you even know where to start?